Okay, so this video is just going to be a quick guide. There's going to be no intro. Basically, this is just a quick guide to Overwatch roles. So, this isn't like... In this video, this isn't going to be like, oh, this is a tank, this is a DPS, this is a support. It's going to be a little more intricate than that. We're going to go through all 10 roles in the current game. That includes things like main tanks, projectile, DPS, secondary supports, things like that. Anyway, let's kick off our list. So, I'm just going to set a little bit of a rule here. At the beginning of each category is what I think the optimal version of that type of character is. So, usually this is going to be like, for example, in the off-tank category, it would be something like D.Va, because she is a prime example of an off-tank and probably the best one you can think of. But anyway, let's start off with that. So we'll start off on our main tank category. For main tanks, we have Orisa, who I would think is one of the best examples of a main tank. Then Reinhardt, a close second, and then Winston, a third. Now, Winston's not a particularly bad example of main tanks. They're all main characters, and main tanks are really like the core of your team in Overwatch. You're going to want to play around them, and if they fall down, your entire team will crumble. So almost your entire support team's mostly going to be focused on them. And their main job is to keep a shield in front of your team and to make sure your team is protected from enemies, and they're usually the leaders in shot calling. Okay, next is off tanks. Off tanks include D.Va, Zarya, and Roadhog. All these characters represent a type of tank that provides a utility for their team. It provides some other service. For example, D.Va provides high mobility, which pairs well with Winston, for example, and she provides the defense matrix, which is able to block off abilities like, which is able to block off all projectile abilities, and more importantly, a lot of ultimates. So that's why she's useful. Or another example is Zarya, who provides bubbles for her team. This isn't exactly a shield, but this is the closest to a main tank and off tank we'll get. And then Roadhog. Roadhog provides a hook, and he's mostly focused on dealing damage and making kind of a meat shield for the team. Anyway, next is merge tanks. Merge tanks include Sigma and Wrecking Ball. Sigma's the best example of a merge tank. He provides the shield for his team, while at the same time his shield is relatively weak, and it also charges slowly, but he also has high damage, so it makes up a mix between an off-tank and a main tank type of role. I considered putting Zarya here. That's usually a debate whether Zarya is a merge or an off-tank. But the other merge tank is Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball provides a shield, not in the typical sense, but he provides a shield on his character that he's a very big character, and he has an ability that makes it so that he becomes like he gathers up energy from all the enemies around them and makes a kind of shield. Anyway, this is a pretty strong ability, and that's why he's not an off tank and a merge tank. But he is closer to the off tank side than he is to the main tank side. Anyway, next is hit scan DPS. Hit scan DPSs include McCree, Ashe, Widowmaker, Soldier 76, and Reaper. I'm not going to go through every single one in this category because they're pretty simple. Hit scan DPS basically just have single point type of aiming style. If you don't know what that is, basically you don't need to track your bullets, you just need to shoot, and you just need to shoot where your reticle is aiming. McCree is the best example of this. He has a revolver, it shoots straight forward, and that's pretty much it. He has a flashbang roll that his abilities are kind of basic. So, and again, I'm not going to go through everyone. We have two snipers in this category. We have Ashe and Widowmaker. Those are two of the 4 sniper characters in the game. We also have Soldier 76. He's the only him and McCree are not snipers, but they're medium to long range hit scans. And then we have Reaper, the only close range hit scan, with shotguns and a lot of movement abilities. Next is projectile DPS. Projectile DPS, best example is Junkrat. They provide high damage abilities that are more tracking type abilities than they are hit scan type abilities. So, say, for example, Junkrat's bombs or Genji's shurikens, both of these are projectile-type abilities, and projectile DPS include Junkrat, Genji, Hanzo, and Echo. So, all these, their primary fires shoot, and you have to track their bullets. Symmetra's not in this category with her secondary fire, because you can't really hit targets using that. It's more of like a slow fire. But anyway, speaking of Symmetra, next on to utility DPS. Utility DPS include Torbjorn, Bastion, Sombra, and Symmetra. Sombra is an outlier here, and you can call her a hit scan or a utility, but really utility characters provide some sort of, as the name implies, utility for their team. This being a turret in the form of Torbjorn's turret, or Symmetra's sentries, or say Bastion's kind of transforming his tank form and his machine gun form, and then Sombra's utility is her ability to hack other players, so such as she's able to just hack other characters, removing their abilities. This is, obviously, she's hard to place, because she mostly either falls into hit scan or the next category we're going to bring up, which is merge DPS. Merge DPS are characters such as Tracer or Doomfist. These characters are kind of like merges, usually between utility and one other type of DPS. This is not very... It's debated on whether this one is real or whether it should be just either hit scan or projectile or utility. But each of these characters do, I think, belong in this category. This category includes Tracer, Mei, and Pharah, and Doomfist. Tracer is a good example, but all of them are very different. Tracer provides a lot of hit scan and utility. Her major utility is her blinking, her able to rewind herself, and her bomb. Those are all kind of hit or utility type abilities, whereas her primary fire makes her closer to a hit scan than a utility. So it's hard to place her in either utility or hit scan, but I guess she falls into the merge DPS category. Then we have Mei, who is like the complete opposite of Tracer. She's a utility projectile character. So her primary and secondary fire are both projectile type weapons. Well, her primary fire is kind of a weird beam-like weapon, but anyway, her wall and ice block provide a good utility along with her ultimate. These are all CC or self-healing abilities. So those are all utility, but her secondary and primary fire make it so that she is just on the edge between projectile and merge, or projectile and utility, which puts her in the merge. So next we have Pharah. She provides utility in the air, being able to rain down on opponents. This is very similar to Echo, but she has more aerial mobility. Or Pharah has more aerial mobility, to be exact. Pharah also has some utility, though, with her rockets providing. Pharah has some projectile-ness in her. Her rockets are projectile weapons, and her concussive mines are also projectile weapons. So she's a mixture between utility and projectile. And finally, Doomfist. Doomfist is a lot like a Reaper mixed with kind of like a Torbjorn type thing. He's pretty unique. He's his primary fire is definitely a projectile, which makes him a projectile utility character. It's kind of like a shotgun, but it has travel time. So, but what makes him more of a utility and mix between a utility and projectile is the fact that his major abilities, including his fist, his slam, and his uppercut, are not really projectile abilities and more fall under the lines of utility to your team in the form of high damage. Next, we have support. So we have primary support, Mercy, and Moira. Supports are the smallest category. Anyway, primary supports are Mercy and Moira. Mercy provides a kind of just healing for her team. Raw healing and some sort of small bonus, like a damage or a damage boost, is usually what you'll find in a primary support category. So Mercy and Moira's main abilities are both major healing, just raw healing, with raw damage boost or raw damage on the side. Then we have secondary supports, which include Zenyatta, Lucio, and Brigitte. Zenyatta provides Orbs of Discord. Well, for example, secondary supports provide some sort of utility to their team, and compared to, say, primary supports, secondary supports such as Zenyatta provide Discord and high damage. Lucio provides speed boosts and AoE healing instead of just direct healing. And Brigitte provides high damage and tankiness along with her decent healing. So all those characters belong in the secondary support category. And finally, we have merge supports. Merge supports include Ana and Baptiste. Ana provides long-range healing as the fourth and final sniper in the game. She provides long-range healing, but she also provides a little bit of utility in the form of her sleep darts and Bionade. Both of these abilities, her Bionade and primary fire can be used as primary support abilities, while her ultimate and her sleep dart, her ultimate nano boost, and her sleep dart are utility type abilities, so they would fall into the secondary support, which puts her on the edge. Then finally we have Baptiste. Baptiste's most of his abilities are primary support, such as his secondary fire, his healing grenades, and his secondary ability, which is a healing burst. But other than that, they're both utility support abilities, such as secondary support abilities. Those are his ultimate, which is the window, which provides a heavy damage boost to anyone shooting through it that's on your team, and his immortality field, which provides immortality to all teammates in the area. This character is very powerful. Almost all of his abilities are super strong. Anyway, that's pretty much where it ends. I hope you got a good overview of how characters in Overwatch work. Anyway, I have been Carapai High. Goodbye.